I'm Liyana Hassanel, and you're tuning into Nightline, the top stories. At Bow Wow Forum for Asia, Datuk Sri Anwar calls for focus on tech competition collaboration. And Datuk Sri Abdul Rauf nominated as new Melaka CM. Good morning. Technological competition should be one of the principal agenda items for discussion at the highest levels, on par with discourses on security and general economic matters. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim said with the current race centred around cutting-edge technology, as demonstrated in the competition in the semiconductor industry, the rivalry to be ahead in this could take either a productive or destructive turn.
That's why I believe that technological competition should be one of the principal agenda items for discussion at the highest levels, right up there with discourses on security and general economic matters.
The Prime Minister was speaking during a plenary session at the Bow Wow Forum for Asia Annual Conference 2023, BFA 2023 in Hainan, China on Thursday. He said acknowledging every country's needs to protect its intellectual property rights and try to stay ahead of the competition, certain guardrails need to be established so that the competition does not lead to a bifurcation in the technological world that would only raise costs and impede progress. In his speech, Datuk Sri Anwar also touched on the Malaysia Madani concept that was introduced as an expression of desire to forge the country's path based on its own mold, as it creates a humanistic nation in line with its civilizational values. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister said ordinary citizens with the burden of having to put food on the table and the tangible and pressing uncertainties faced must also not be forgotten. This as wages remain the main form of income for the majority of the world's population. However, according to the International Labour Organization's Global Wage Report 2022 to 2023, wages and the purchasing power of households have dented considerably due to COVID-19 and global inflation. After his visit to Hainan, Datuk Sri Anwar arrived in Beijing to continue his official visit to China to advance the strategic partnerships between Kuala Lumpur and Beijing. The special aircraft carrying Datuk Sri Anwar from Hainan landed at the Beijing Capital International Airport at about 4:30 p.m. local time. Present to welcome him were China's Vice Foreign Minister Sun Weidong, China's Ambassador to Malaysia Ouyang Yujing, and Malaysia's Deputy Chief of Mission to China, Sanmugan Subramaniam. Accompanying the Prime Minister on this trip are Foreign Minister Datuk Sri Zamri Abdul Kadir, Transport Minister Anthony Loke, and Local Government Development Minister Nga Kor Ming. Datuk Sri Anwar will be accorded an official welcoming ceremony on Saturday at the Great Hall of the People by the newly appointed Chinese Premier Li Qiang, followed by a bilateral meeting, and both leaders will also witness the signing of 3 MOUs to deepen economic ties between the two governments. Later, during a question and answer session at a Breaking a Fast event with Malaysians in China at the Malaysian Embassy in Beijing, Datuk Sri Anwar said his visit to China this week is a manifestation of the country's importance to Malaysia in various aspects, especially trade. He said China is important not only as a neighbour with close bilateral relationship and a close trading partner, but also due to its position as a major power in the world economy.
Kita letakkan seperti saya sebut satu yang utama kerana negara China ini jiran. Keduanya kekuatan ekonomi yang raksasa sekarang ini.
Commenting further, the Prime Minister said the unity government led by him is now more intact and stable. This allows the government to implement policies to strengthen the country's economic growth and attract more foreign investments and trade to Malaysia. Datuk Sri Anwar also expressed his gratitude to Malaysians residing in China, as these people played a major role in contributing to the close relationship between the two countries. Currently, there are about 1,300 Malaysians registered with the embassy currently residing in China. Melaka UMNO Liaison Chief Datuk Sri Abdul Rauf Yusof has been nominated by UMNO as its sole candidate for the vacant Melaka Chief Minister's post. UMNO President Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi said he had submitted the proposal to the Yang di-Pertuan Negeri Tun Muhammad Ali Rustam.
Saya telah mengutus warkah kepada Tuan Yang Terutama Yang di-Pertua Negeri Melaka untuk menerima peletakan jawatan Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Seri Utama Ketua Menteri, ya. Dan dengan ini parti mencadangkan melalui warkah itu Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Rauf Yusof sebagai Ketua Menteri yang baru. Noktah.
The Deputy Prime Minister explained that Datuk Sri Sulaiman Mat Ali's resignation as the 12th Melaka Chief Minister on Wednesday was due to health reasons. Asked whether the Melaka State Executive Council lineup would be reshuffled to include Pakatan Harapan representatives, Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid said he hoped this could be done in the spirit of the National Unity Government at the federal level. Earlier State Secretary Datuk Zaidi Johari confirmed that the new Melaka Chief Minister would be sworn in on Friday. He said the ceremony would be held at the main hall of the Yang di-Pertuan Negeri office in Ayer Keroh at 3 p.m. Datuk Zaidi also confirmed that Melaka's Yang di-Pertuan Negeri Tun Muhammad Ali Rustam had received Datuk Sri Sulaiman's resignation letter. And based on the Melaka Constitution, the Yang di-Pertuan Negeri would appoint a new Chief Minister. Meanwhile, Datuk Sri Sulaiman has denied talk that he was forced to step down from the post he has held since 2021. The Lendu Assemblyman said he resigned voluntarily, a decision which he said had been thinking about for some time and wanted to do so when the time was right.
Lama dah. Dulu saya pernah cakap dengan saya sepenggal cukup lah, pun lama.
Datuk Syarab lepas ni, Datuk Sri Rauf, apa yang perlu dibuat untuk Melaka lepas ni?
Tak payah, benda semua dah ada, jalan-jalan. Masing-masing ada kelebihan, biar tak apa. Kita mesti sokong, mendukung sebaik yang mungkin. Dan saya harap siapa sahaja yang berganti selepas Datuk Rauf ke?
Tak.
Kalau dia, saya maknanya buatlah yang terbaik. Siapa pun lah. Saya pun tak tahu siapa.
Tapi memang tak ada desakan daripada mana-mana pihak, Datuk Sri?
Desakan ni, hati saya datang ni daripada naluri.
He was met by the media after handing out Ramadan assistance for the Masjid Tanah Parliamentary constituency in Kuala Lenggi. The program was one of his last as Melaka Chief Minister. He also admitted that he had expressed the intention to step down as Chief Minister to Datuk Sri Zahid on a few occasions, but was turned down. Datuk Sri Sulaiman also expressed hope that his successor will bring out about effective changes in terms of economic development to the state. With the developments taking shape in Melaka, political analyst Prof. Dr. Sivamurugan Pandian tells Nightline that it is now time to focus on what would be the best agenda for the people of the state.
I strongly believe that it's time for the leadership in Melaka to focus on the people's needs and also demands to ensure the welfare is taken care well after this. It also reflects a projection towards future, and to an extent Melaka would be able to bring back whatever glories they have achieved previously. With the majority they have now, 21 seats, including with Pakatan Harapan 5 seats, I think it's timely to focus on what would be the best agenda for the people, and also to lead as a role model that I think could be emulated by other states. What more, I think they will face other state elections soon.
He also believes that the new leadership in Melaka would emulate the central leadership to ensure a united state government in administering the state.
The new Chief Minister will have to make sure that whatever been speculated the rift or rumors that we saw for the last 14 months should end down, and he carries a huge responsibility to make sure that the followers of the previous Chief Minister will focus on assisting him as well in the party, and also how he would be able to mediate a new kind of relationship within the party and also with other political blocs to ensure that within months they could see changes that we saw at the federal level is also a model at the state level.
We also have geostrategist Dr. Azmi Hassan joining us now. Now, what type of impact does the situation in Melaka have on the state's political stability?
Yes, I do believe that the political situation, not only in Melaka, but at the national level, will be much more stable. How odd is this observation? But I think this is very peculiar to UMNO, because Melaka politics, even though after the state election, UMNO gained a very landslide victory regarding the changing of chief minister, has been going on for some time. So I'm hoping that whoever the chief minister is will stabilize the state government political scenario and will be at the national level. I think it will be more stable, more stronger UMNO in this case. So I guess maybe at one angle we can look at what happened. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise for our national political scenario.
And what's next after this, as far as the Melaka political situation is concerned?
At the state level, I'm sure there will be a lot of changes. The EXCO, I think, a lot of changes. But more interestingly, Deputy Prime Minister Zahid Hamidi said that a few days before this that the state government of Melaka will be reflected as what transpired in the national unity government. So I expect that changes will be made at the state level of the Melaka government, but not so much at the national level, except that at the national level, UMNO will be much more stable, which in a way is very good advantage for the unity government.
Thank you, Doctor. The country's current taxation model is not sufficient, which led to its revenue to be lower than other developed countries, including neighbouring countries in ASEAN. Deputy Finance Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Maslan told the Dewan Rakyat the country's tax revenue on average accounted for 11.55% of annual gross domestic product, GDP, between 2018 and 2023. Datuk Seri Ahmad said this when answering a supplementary question from Titi Wangsa MP, Datuk Seri Johari Abdul Ghani, on the government's action to coordinate the country's tax collection in accordance with the neighbouring countries in ASEAN.
Adakah model pencukaian kita ini yang saya anggap sebagai begitu rendah dibanding dengan GDP kita ini boleh sustainable atau mampan untuk negara kita? Kerana apabila saya mengambil kira jumlah faedah yang nak dibayar tiap-tiap tahun termasuk subsidi yang begitu besar, saya takut dan saya bimbang model ini kalau kita tidak lihat, dia akan menyebabkan negara kita ini akan terus meningkatkan hutang mereka yang tidak terkawal pada masa akan datang.
Dan model ini memang tidak sustainable, memang tidak mampan. Kita akhirnya pada satu ketika nanti tidak akan boleh meneruskan model 11.5% hasil cukai daripada KDNK ini. Oleh itu, antara langkah kerajaan bila Yang Berhormat sebut tentang subsidi ialah kita ingin melaksanakan subsidi bersasar. Yang perkara yang lain ialah kita ingin meluaskan asas hasil cukai, menambah baik menyemak semula struktur dan perundangan cukai dan memberi insentif-insentif percukaian.
In the past 6 years, the tax revenue in the country to GDP was an average of 11.5%. This rate is much lower compared to the United States at 25.5%, Japan at 31.4%, and the United Kingdom at 32.8%. Meanwhile, Datuk Sri Ahmad Maslan said that a Fiscal Responsibility Act would be tabled in the Parliament this year as another measure to resolve the government's increasing debt. He also said the government's focus at the moment is to strengthen the country's fiscal position, increase revenue, and restructure the economy. Scores killed after fire rips through Philippine ferry. This and more from the foreign front when we come back.
Interest rates, inflation, borrowing costs, higher cost of property investments. How have these factors forced sellers to adjust their prices? Will the property market remain active with positive growth? How to tackle the alarming number of sick housing projects? Money Matters this Saturday with Reda Malaysia at 5 p.m. only on TV3.
21 people were killed after an inter-island ferry caught fire in the southern Philippines, with many of the 250 passengers jumping overboard into dark waters trying to escape the blaze. It was reported that the MV Lady Mary Joy 3 was traveling from Zamboanga City on Mindanao Island to Jolo Island in Sulu Province when the fire broke out late Wednesday. Rescuers have so far saved 230 people, including passengers and crews, as the blaze ripped through the ferry off Baluk-Baluk Island in Basilan Province. Authorities said 14 people were injured and 7 were missing, adding that there could be more people missing as the number of passengers on the vessel exceeded the 205 listed in the ship's manifest. According to the Philippine Coast Guard, search and rescue operations were ongoing, and there were no signs of overloading on the ship. In the U.S., 2 Army Black Hawk helicopters crashed in Kentucky during a training mission on Wednesday night, resulting in several casualties. The Army base, in a statement on Thursday, said the helicopters from the 101st Airborne Division crashed at around 10 p.m. local time in Kentucky's Strick County, near the Tennessee border. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear said fatalities were expected, adding that the incident was under investigation. Fort Campbell, which is home to the 101st Airborne Division, the U.S. Army's only air assault division, stated more information will be released as it becomes available. It added that it is now focusing on the soldiers and their families who were involved. 2023 Miami Open. Jessica Pegula saved 2 match points to advance to her 7th WTA 1000 semi-final, defeating Anastasia Potapova. Pegula, however, was forced to come back from a first-set defeat before clinching her victory. Losing the opener 4-6, the third seed regained her momentum to secure a 6-3, 7-6 win. A semi-finalist in Miami last year, Pegula became the first American to reach back-to-back Final Four appearances at Miami since Serena Williams in 2014 and 2015. In the men's event, Jannik Sinner stepped back on court after a 2-hour rain delay to finish off Emil Ruusuvuori and maintain his perfect record in Florida. The Italian 10th seed needed 1 hour and 15 minutes to seal a 6-3, 6-1 win. Sinner has not dropped a set on his way to the semi-finals in Miami, where he will meet the winner between Carlos Alcaraz and Taylor Fritz. Police probe after 4 siblings die in Muar house fire. This and more when Nightline returns. Datuk Seri Muhammad Najib Tun Razak will know on Friday whether he will be allowed to review his conviction and sentence in the 42 million ringgit SRC International case. A 5-member bench led by Chief Judge of Sabah and Sarawak, Datuk Abdul Rahman Sebli, is expected to deliver the judgment after having heard lengthy submissions from both parties previously. The other panelists are Federal Court Judges Datuk Vernon Ong Lam Kiat, Datuk Rodzaira Bujang and Datuk Nordin Hassan, as well as Court of Appeal Judge Datuk Abu Bakar Jayes. If leave is granted, the Federal Court will then fix a date to have Datuk Seri Muhammad Najib's review application heard on its full merits. Datuk Seri Muhammad Najib is seeking leave to review the Federal Court's decision of August 23, 2022, which upholds the Kuala Lumpur High Court's decision to convict and sentence him to 12 years in jail and a 210 million ringgit fine in the 42 million ringgit SRC International case. One of the points raised by Datuk Seri Muhammad Najib's team was the fundamental failure of a fair trial, which his lead counsel, Tan Sri Muhammad Shafi Abdullah, attributed to the previous Federal Court panel that enforced lawyer Datuk Hisham Tehpo Teik to remain on board as Datuk Seri Muhammad Najib's lead counsel in the final appeal hearing, despite Datuk Hisham wanting to discharge himself due to time constraints. Agency Counselling dan Pengurusan Kredit AKPK on Thursday evening said its server containing customer data may have been illegally accessed. Due to this, AKPK has decided to take some of its operational systems offline temporarily. And that's to prevent further risks after the recent breach of its information technology IT system. In a statement, AKPK apologized for the incident, adding that its systems will be back online once it is safe. AKPK also said it has implemented relevant arrangements to maintain services for customers with as little disruption as possible. It also stressed that it is cooperating with the relevant authorities on an ongoing basis, including conducting investigation with leading third-party cybersecurity experts. The statement noted that it will continue to take steps to mitigate the impact of the breach to protect customers' data. Police will investigate all aspects, including possible negligence in the fire that claimed the lives of 4 siblings in Kampung Sabah Awar, Muar and Johor on Wednesday. Muar District Police Chief ACP Rais Muktis Azman Aziz said police were still waiting for the results of the post-mortem and the forensic report from the Fire and Rescue Department on the cause of the fire. Rais Muklis said the investigation paper would be sent to the public prosecutor if it was established that there were elements of negligence or crime that caused the fire. Preliminary investigations have not ruled out the possibility that the fire was caused by a short circuit in the kitchen, but further investigations were ongoing. On Wednesday, the 4 children who died in the fire that razed their house were believed to have tried to save themselves by hiding in the bathroom. The victims, Putri Aisyah Tengkoto, Muhammad Hakim, Mustaqim and Fatihah Aisyah, aged between 3 and 8, were alone at their house when the fire broke out at 7:49 p.m. In Johor, the Customs Department foiled an attempt to smuggle hard liquor and cigarettes worth more than 6.4 million ringgit in 3 separate raids this month. State Customs Director Misha Budin Parmin said the smuggling syndicate's modus operandi was to make false declarations on the declaration form to deceive the authorities. Misha Budin stated that the department's Sungai Pulai Marine Enforcement Section seized 8 shipping containers of hard liquor in Port Klang, Selangor on March 3rd. Checks on the declaration form showed the shipment was declared as machine spare parts and not what was actually in the containers. He also said the seized cargo of hard liquor was worth about 922,000 ringgit, with unpaid duties estimated to be more than 4.16 million ringgit. The department also confiscated more than 1.5 million packs of white cigarettes worth 182,000 ringgit, with unpaid duties estimated to be more than 1.08 million ringgit. In 2 other raids conducted at the Pasir Gudang Free Industrial Zone on March 6th and 15th. 2 men believed to be agents of the company involved were also arrested in the raids. The case is being investigated under the Customs Act 1967 for importing uncustomed or prohibited goods. As Nightline draws to a close this time around, let's take a look at this giant Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton, which was unveiled to the public in Switzerland before being put up for auction next month. The giant carnivore, which lived millions of years ago, is expected to fetch between 5.44 million to 8.7 million US dollars when it goes on sale in Zurich on April 18th. I'm Liyana Hassanel. Thank you for tuning in, and to our Muslim viewers, Selamat Bersahur.